Morning, my lighthouse friends. We've been missing you so much, but I wanted to share a story with you today, one of my favorites this time of year. It's a Russian folktale, Ukrainian even, and it's kind of like the fairy tales that we had in February. So it didn't really happen, but it sure is fun. It's called Rechenka's Egg. I love the illustrations in this book as well. It's really fun. So you can sit on your couch and watch me, or you can sit down crisscross applesauce, hands in your lap, practice being a good student, get ready for those kindergarten teachers. And here we go. Let's read Rechenka's Eggs. Babushka lived alone in a dacha, a little house in the country, but she was known far and wide for the fine eggs that she lovingly painted. Her eggs were so beautiful that she always won the first prize at the Easter festival in Moscow. Each day, Babushka would take the shell of an egg from her basket and paint it in wonderful designs using the shapes of stars and flowers, triangles and circles. Through the long, cold winter, Babushka painted. One day, after a snowstorm, Babushka went outside. She could still hear the faint sound of falling snow. It was a sound like soft rain. Herds of caribou came to feed at Babushka's because the grasses they usually ate were covered with snow. A miracle, she whispered as she fed some. These wild things have found their way to me. Look at their eyes. Can you see that? They're really big looking at her. Is she going to be scary or nice? Just then, a flock of noisy geese honked loudly overhead. As they glided over the snow, one of them faltered and fell from the sky. Babushka went to where the goose lay crumpled in the snow. Do you see, here it is falling from the sky? A hunter did this, Babushka grumbled. She carefully picked up the goose and took it back to her little house. There she fed the little goose from her own table and put the goose in her best basket, lined with the warmest quilt from her own bed. I shall name you a good name, one that we both can like, eh, my little friend? She said as she patted the goose's head. How do you like Rechenka? Yes? Well, then Rechenka it shall be. With Babushka's care, Rechenka grew stronger each day. To repay her kindness, Rechenka laid an egg for breakfast every morning. That was kind. Do you see her bandage right there? Yeah. As Rechenka got better, she waddled around the little house, exploring every nook, cupboard, and corner. One day, she jumped on top of Babushka's work table, overturning the jars of bright-colored paint that she used to color her eggs. Nit! Babushka screamed as she chased the goose with her broom. No! The frightened goose flapped her wings to get away and knocked over the basket of eggs that Babushka had so lovingly painted. The eggs crashed onto the floor and shattered into millions of pieces. They were both very sad. There was no reason now for Babushka to go to the festival. The next morning, Babushka slowly got out of bed and trundled over to Rechenka's basket to get her morning egg. But when she reached into the middle of the quilt, oh wait, I have a basket right here. Here's my basket. This is what, oh, sorry, you can't see it. Put it up on my knee here. She reached inside her basket. She pulled out a beautiful egg. Mine is wooden. This one actually came from Poland. My grandma gave it to me. Put it down so I can show you and read the rest of the story. So here's Babushka's egg. She picked it up. She reached into the quilt and she picked out the most brilliantly colored egg that she had ever seen. A miracle, Babushka whispered. A miracle. Can you see that egg? It's beautiful. I think Rechenka looks kind of proud. I wish you could see it the way I can. She's like, oh, I did this for you. Now this is the fun part. Let me get a little closer. She made small holes at both ends of the egg and blew the yolk and white into a dish to cook and eat later for breakfast. Then she held the egg up to the morning light and marveled at its beauty. After that, every morning, for 12 mornings, there was another egg, each more beautiful than the one laid the day before. Soon Babushka had enough eggs to take to the festival in Moscow. How wonderful, she thought. A miracle has replaced the eggs that were broken. Spring is here, my little friend, Babushka said to Rechenka the morning of the festival. Soon now you will be flying off to the north to join your flock. She bustled to the hearth fire and brewed some of her most flavored tea. The two shared a saucer of tea with kulich, a sweet Easter bread. She covered each piece with pashka, a spread of cheese, butter, and raisins. They savored each bit together. One for you, one for me, Babushka chanted. Da, da, my little friend, I shall sorely miss you, but you are a wild thing, and a miracle sent you to me. It would not be right to ask you to stay here with me forever. When Babushka left her little house, she took one last look at Rechenka sitting on the doorstep. She waved. And then she took determined steps for Moscow with the basket of her precious eggs. She crossed the Libetov Valley, where the caribou mothers were walking their newborn calves. A miracle, she thought. Remember, these were the ones that she fed, probably. New little lives, a miracle. She crossed the bridge over the Moskva River, and soon she could see the onion domes of old Moskva. See this right here? They look kind of like onions. That's why they call them onion domes. Very interesting architecture. Oh, wow. Look how beautifully colored those are. The festival was bright and exciting. There were goat carts selling kulich, processions, dancers, jugglers, and laughing children, playing and running. Oh, I'd love to see that. Babushka showed her old friends the eggs. Her eggs are the most beautiful in all Russia, they thought. Look at them, the elders said. They almost glow, as if the paint is part of the shell itself. The judges picked Babushka's eggs as the most beautiful. Babushka was so happy. She beamed as she looked at first prize, a new feather bed quilt. Remember, she gave hers to Rechenka. Now she has a new one. As Babushka made her way homeward, a honking flock of geese flew overhead. Babushka gave them a long, lingering look. She wondered if Rechenka was one of them. Maybe that one. When Babushka arrived at her home that evening, Rechenka was gone. Alone, she put the new quilt on her little bed. She brewed a cup of tea, ate the last of the kulich and the pashka. She got into bed with her favorite book of poems and drifted off to sleep. She hadn't noticed Rechenka's basket. Do you see what's in that basket? Look at that. That night, Babushka was awakened from a sound sleep by an ever so small sound. It was coming from Rechenka's basket. She hobbled closer and saw a glorious egg. But this one was different from all of the others. You see what's happening? It quivered and moved. It made tiny muffled sounds. The egg jumped and bumped and rolled and pitched in the basket. Do you see what's happening? I do too. Then there was a crack, and Babushka could see the very special gift that Rechenka had left for her. All a miracle, Babushka said. And this little goose remained with Babushka forever. That was Rechenka's Eggs by Patricia, Polacco. I love that book. That was fun. One of my favorites at Easter time. So good to see you all, friends. Thanks for visiting with me. I miss you, and we'll have another story again soon. Love you. Bye-bye. Stop.